Scarlet Knights fans, welcome to another episode of Night Watch with Larry K. If you haven't done so yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button before you go any further. We're close to 300. We're trying to get up to 500. It's going to take us a little bit, but we can hit that 300 mark by the Michigan State game, and that's what we're trying to do here. It was a great pleasure to see a lot of people over at the Wagner game this week. I saw a bunch of people. If you saw me, do me a favor. Just drop a comment below. Be like, hey, Larry, I saw you over here. I saw you over there. I met a bunch of people, and I want to keep track of everybody. So hit me down here, but it's greatly appreciated when you see me out to say, yo, how are you? I'm one of the guys out there, and it feels cool to talk to people and interact and just exchange a little bit of thoughts and knowledge and whatnot on Rutgers athletics. So it's a pleasure to see everybody. Drop me a comment and keep on saying what's up when I see you at the games. Want to talk about the Wagner game just a little bit. I think it was probably the lowest attendance I've seen so far this year, and I understand why. I mean, it's Wagner. It's kind of a ho-hum outing. The weather was actually surprisingly nice, but leading up to it was a little wet, and then that morning was a little wet. Some of the tailgate lots, although Rutgers did a good job of kind of cordoning off the worst areas, some of the tailgate lots were a little wet, so I understand why people didn't come out as much, but it was definitely the lowest attendance I've seen all season. Still a nice outing, though. A 3:30 kickoff is always nice. The weather was nice, so it was a nice outing. I thought the kids, had a little bit of trouble getting going. I don't think they got up for the game as much early on. I think, coming off the loss to Michigan with the bulk of the Big Ten schedule looming, I just didn't seem like they were as up for the game early on. But obviously the game progressed as you expected it to. Rutgers winning 52-3. I thought it was interesting, and it speaks to, I think, the culture that Shiano has put into this program and the culture and the type of kids that we recruit. You saw, and it was funny because I'm sitting right there on like the 10-yard line, and I see the return man for Wagner on the one long kickoff return. He's got his yellow shoes on, his yellow gloves. He's looking at the sky, and you could, it's funny when you. I know a lot of people say they'd rather watch games on TV sometimes these days, especially NFL games. They think you have a better vantage point, but you see things at the games that you don't see on TV. You can observe the entire field, the sideline, different players individually. It's live and right in front of you. And it's interesting the types of things you can pick up on that are not always picked up on by the commentators on TV. And I saw this kid, and I'm like, he's going to try to make a run, and he's out here to make an impact play. And sure enough, the ball comes right to him. And sure enough, he takes off up the sideline. And I thought it spoke a lot to the culture. You have a kid in Al-Shadi Salam who I've been a big advocate for based on his skill set. But, the coaching staff is seeing things I'm not seeing in practice. And we've seen what a revelation Benjamin has been. And we know Sam Brown's coming back. And Aaron Young has talent. And, Monungai's just really taken off and made the job his. So I understand why a guy like Salam, might be lower on the depth chart, but nonetheless, he's playing special teams. And this kid takes up off the sideline, and it would have been easy to take a little bit off your angle or your run or, whatever. But Salam busts his butt to get all the way up there on an excellent angle and prevents the touchdown. And the fact that the game ended 52-3, Wagner did get a field goal out of that, but we kept them out of the end zone. I just thought spoke a lot to the culture of the team, to how seriously these kids, even when you get lower on the depth chart, even when guys who used to have more prominent roles, and a guy like Salam, who's now seen it diminished a bit, is still taking pride in his role on special teams and still playing ball that way. I think that was awesome to see. So Gavin Wimsatt, 12 of 19 for 146 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. It was a okay, solid day for Gavin. On the ground, 7 rushes for 15 yards, 2 touchdowns. I thought the 2 times he kept the ball, ran into the end zone were good. You want to see him use his legs to create plays, and when he's creating, 12 points with his legs, it's obviously a good day, and you want to see that. But I don't think there was anything that blew us away necessarily. Did have the one beautiful deep throw with a beautiful catch to Jackson. Just absolute beautiful throw, beautiful catch. Christian Dremel has been a revelation all year, and he's got 4 receptions for 38 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 9.5 yards a reception. Dremel's been just very good, very consistent, and now you're seeing why he was the most improved in training camp. You're seeing why he played himself and practiced himself and worked himself into a starting position, and it's paying its dividends. So it's nice to see. Johnny Shepard got in, and I thought he looked pretty good. Now, this is Wagner. This is like Wagner in garbage time towards the end of the game, but he was 2 for 2 for 23 yards. I liked the placement of the ball. I liked his poise in the pocket. I liked, the way he looked back there. He looked like he knew what he was doing. Shiano said Evan Simon could have gone in a pinch, but he was, fighting some lingering little issues, so he didn't play. And they wanted Shepard to get some reps, so that was good. Manungai, 19 carries for 87 yards, 4.6 average per carry, 1 touchdown. Aaron Young got a touchdown, 9 carries for 61. Benjamin, 7 carries for 57, averaging 8.1. I mean, Benjamin is just going to be a really good player for us, I think. The fact that he's a true freshman, the fact he was a tad under the radar coming out of Florida, it just shows the wealth of talent that you can get out of state, and it shows what Shiano's doing in last year's class and especially in this year's class in going out of state to get guys who maybe in their state are not the top, a serious talent. So it's showing what you can do when you do that. Benjamin's been great. Sam Brown, 9 rushes for 38 yards, averaging 4.2 a carry, 1 touchdown. So the running backs all got involved. Everybody got in the end zone except Shorty. And you saw, a team just doing what the team's supposed to do on that day. I wasn't blown away by anything. One way or the other, right? I didn't feel like our play was necessarily super underwhelming, or I was blown away and super encouraged by anything. It was right about where I thought it would be and where you think it would be. And I'm sorry for the sirens out here, downtown Newark, New Jersey. It's a little bit annoying while you're on the mic, but hopefully it doesn't take away from your guys' audiological perception on this show here. But wasn't blown away, wasn't over-encouraged, under-encouraged, whatever. I still think this is a bowl team. We've got our 4 wins now. We are 4-1 on the year, and we've only got to get 2 more wins somewhere in this Big Ten schedule to go bowling. And I think if we go bowling, we're right on schedule with this rebuild 2.0. And with the talent we're seeing in the system, and as the talent is being developed, I think we are trending in the right direction for the next couple of years and beyond. When you look at some of the guys that are coming in the recruiting classes and some of the younger guys that'll be around for a while, the trajectory and the arrow is pointing up, and it's feeling good right now to be a Rutgers fan. So we travel for a noon kickoff to Madison to take on the Wisconsin Badgers this Saturday. We are I think we opened as 14-point underdogs. The line may have narrowed a bit to 13.5. I see some people out here saying, look, we could beat Wisconsin. They're not giving us respect with that 14-point spread. Wisconsin's ripe for an upset. I didn't predict a win against Wisconsin in my preseason predictions. Do I think Rutgers is more in a position this year than they've been in the past to be able to take on a Wisconsin football team, play them tough, be competitive, and potentially set up some sort of upset? Yeah, I think this is the best year where Wisconsin is where we are to be able to do something like that. Am I somebody who thinks and is predicting right now that Rutgers goes into Wisconsin and wins? No. Wisconsin is still unbeaten in conference. They took a tough loss to Washington State, who's a ranked team, who's been playing pretty good, 31-22. It was decisive, but it wasn't necessarily getting taken to the woodshed. They beat Purdue handily, 38-17 recently, which resembles maybe our win against Northwestern. And Northwestern held on against Penn State a little bit there. So I think I think it's easy to get too high and think, wow, we're 4-1, we're playing much better than we have in the past, which is all true. I fundamentally and genuinely believe we are a better football team this year than we've been ever under Ash, and that we've been so far under Schiano the second time. This probably is the best team we've had since 2014. Is it as good as 2014? That's a tough call, and I don't think so, because we don't have the older quarterback, and all those players that came in right before Schiano left that were such upper echelon guys. But we have good players, and it's definitely the best team we've seen since 2014. Can it reach those heights, winning those games in the Big Ten and shellacking a Power 5 team in a bowl game? We'll see. It's possible, but we're not there yet. So, yes, it's the best team we've had since 2014. Yes, the arrow's pointing up. Yes, I predict that we go to a bowl game. Yes, I predict we get to at least 6 wins. Do I predict outright that we go into Wisconsin and win this week? I don't. I don't think Wisconsin is that weak. And I'm not saying they have to be ultra weak to lose to Rutgers. I mean, Rutgers is stronger. They are weaker. But has the gap closed significantly where a road game for Rutgers is going to be a win for Rutgers at this juncture? I'm not necessarily convinced. But you see, don't get too low either. When people are acting like Northwestern was, as if they were an FCS team or an or something. And Wisconsin, Northwestern's hanging with Ohio State, not Penn State a little bit. Sorry, it's been a crazy weekend, and it's a crazy start to the week. But don't get too high, don't get too low. This is a better Rutgers team, but I don't know that it's a set the world on fire 2006 Rutgers team. I think Wisconsin still presents challenges in the trenches. They're rushing the ball very well. They're one of the best rushing teams in the country. As usual, the trenches are stout. The trenches are big, as usual, and they're going to want to line up and play Wisconsin football, and I think we will, because, yes, this isn't the same type of team that's going to necessarily have a crazy amount of explosive plays that put Rutgers completely on their heels. Probably not. But this is the type of team, similar to us against VTech or similar to us against Northwestern, where we eventually run them down, grind them down by lining up face to face and running the ball and eventually running them down with our bigger, stronger players. I think Wisconsin still has those trench advantages, and I think it's going to wear down on us a bit. So, look, I'm not predicting a blowout. I'm not saying it's impossible. I hope I'm wrong, and if Rutgers wins, I'll come back, eat my crow, and we're one step closer to my prediction, which is at least 6 wins and a bowl game. And if you pay attention to Virginia Tech, beat Pittsburgh handily 38-21. Not that Pittsburgh's good this year. They're not. But I'm just telling you. I mean, it just goes to show, that you can't get too high or too low with any of this stuff. You just can't. And you can't get too low if we lose to Wisconsin, because, it's still not a game that we're expected to win. The spread is what it is for a reason, and that's what happens. Now, keys to beating Wisconsin. Here's what I think. You watch that Michigan game and our Michigan game. Michigan had to get a little bit creative. Michigan had to get a little bit innovative to get around our defense and break the game open a little bit and score some points. If Rutgers wants to beat Wisconsin, yes, we can run the ball. Yes, we can line up and play defense. Yes, we can maybe bring some guys to bring some pressure in the run game, because, yes, maybe Wisconsin's not airing it out like crazy, and we have the horses to be able to maybe cover some of those passes. But we can't just line up and run the ball down their throats. It's not going to happen. If we want to beat Wisconsin, we need to open the playbook up a little bit. We need to let Gavin Wimsatt use his legs and use his arm. We saw him using his arm on the road in the Big House against Michigan late in the game, and he looked very capable. Is there a chance Gavin makes mistakes if we open the playbook up? Yes. If he makes mistakes, is it the end of the world? No, because we're underdogs in this game. The season's still ahead of us. Potential bowl bids still ahead of us. There are still winnable games ahead of us, and Gavin's got to take some lumps to take another step to learn even more, in my opinion. But if you want to beat Wisconsin, you've got to take them by surprise by opening up the playbook a little bit, getting a little bit innovative, and letting Gavitt air it out a little bit. Draw up some things that they haven't seen yet. Get our guys in space. Utilize some of our playmakers in innovative ways that Wisconsin hasn't seen on film yet. And let this quarterback air it out a little bit. Let him take his lumps if he's going to have to. I know Schiano's not going to come right out of the gate and start doing an air raid, because when there's a chance to win the game, when it's 0-0 or 3-0 or 7-0 or 7-7, where you don't want to make a mistake that costs the game. But as we saw against Michigan, and Wisconsin is not the level of Michigan, but as we saw against Michigan, if you try to line up straight up against teams that are more traditionally talented than you, have traditionally been stronger than you in the trenches, you might keep up here and there, but eventually they're going to make a play that blows the game open regardless. So you might as well at least go down swinging and try to come out and open the playbook. I'm not saying go out there and sling it all over the field. You get your traction a little bit. You see how the run game is going for us, but you air it out a little. You let things happen. Look at Michigan. What was our first touchdown? An explosive play, pass down the middle to Dremel, who took it to the house. And that was a throw. So I say we open it up a little bit if we want to beat Wisconsin. I think it's possible we can beat them if we come out swinging that way. I don't know if it's likely, but I know it's possible. If we do, I think it would be huge for the program, for the confidence of the kids going forward. Then you already have a win in the bag, and you only need one more win. But I think most people project that our best chance to take 2 more victories and get bowl eligible, I think most people's read on that, including mine, is you got Michigan State and you got Indiana. 2 teams that are in certain turmoil with their coaching staffs, who are not doing well, who are kind of reeling this year in more ways than one. You beat Northwestern handily. You've played Michigan State tough. You've beat them during the COVID year. You've beaten Indiana more times than not, I think, since you've been in the Big Ten. You can match up with them just fine. Those are your 2 chances. Now, if we go to the wire with Wisconsin, I think it instills even more confidence. It helps the program's image on the national stage, especially if we come back and take 2 victories and get ourselves bowl eligible immediately subsequent to that. You go in and beat Wisconsin, it's even better. You get hammered and blown out by Wisconsin, I think the confidence starts to take a little bit of a hit, but I have faith in the resolve and the resiliencies of the guys in this team. I have faith in the resolve and resiliency of this coaching staff and the way that the coaching staff is going to instill that resiliency in the players. They've been through enough already since they've gotten here. I don't think losing handily to Wisconsin is going to completely thwart the season at all, especially because they'd be sitting at 4-2. But I think we're capable of being very competitive in the game. I'd like to see us be competitive, even in a loss, even if it's by a touchdown, even if it's by 10 points. Beat the spread, play tough, and get out of there healthy and get back to business, and let's go forward, beat Michigan State, and start to get ready to get bowl eligible. But look, Wisconsin, they're a proficient running team. They still have big men in the trenches. We can go in there and play them tough. But we're going to have to open up the playbook a little bit. That's my read on it. After the game and as we get closer, I might have more breakdown and a little bit more specific information, etc. But I did just want to sit and drop my thoughts on the Wagner game and on the Wisconsin upcoming game. Didn't get to drop a quick game reaction because I was out there, and then it took me a while to get home and whatever else. But usually you'll see a quick post-game reaction from me as well. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, we are really nearing the 300 mark. We want to hit at least 300. We need 500, but we want to hit 300. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Keep tuning in for more Rutgers content. Share the video, share the channel with your friends. Let everybody hear the content. We're trying to just be a nice addition to the Rutgers media sphere that's already out there. Like I said, if you guys have seen me, if you hang with me, whatever, drop a comment, say hello. It was great seeing everybody at the Wagner game. I will see people again at the Michigan State game. And remember, you can always find me in the blue lot. Come say hello. And look, we got more basketball content on the horizon. This season sneaks up on you. You know, the basketball team's already practicing. The schedule's been out. I'm going to have a lot more basketball content coming up. But we got to get through this pivotal pivotal few weeks with the football program first. So I'll talk to everybody very, very soon. Go Knights. Larry K. out.